Hello, everyone. It's time for at least one more Twin Peaks series, and I promise you, this one is a doozy. Now, once I saw things as they really are, this video series really wrote itself quite simply and really without much effort. And I believe I have finally found the master key to understanding several of the core ideas integral to both the return and the original episodes, of course, excluding the glob of nonsense in the middle of season 2. We'll try to forget about that. So I'm going to show you what seems to be the most obvious thing David Lynch has been pointing to all along, something that nearly everyone seems to have missed so far. And yes, it's a bold claim, but I will produce the receipts for that claim soon enough. Now, I did also find some interesting stylistic elements that I couldn't see that anyone has covered on YouTube or really anywhere on the internet that I could find before. So I decided to include some of those as well. But as I have said many times before, Twin Peaks has a lot to say about the fundamental nature of reality, and this reality that, of course, we inhabit seems to be there's a reflection going on. So we're looking in the mirror. So we're gonna dive deeply into that and all of the paradoxes that seem to be happening up and down the chain. Okay. So this is Twin Peaks: The Secret of Secrets, and you're gonna want to hold on to your hats here because I think I'm going to be explaining a few things that is going to make some light bulbs go off for sure. And real quick, before we get rolling, please consider supporting my work by donating at ReInstallPaul.com/support. You can click on the link in the description. It keeps my website and video hosting service operating and allows me to provide some really interesting and helpful information that you won't find anywhere else. And if you make an annual or lifetime donation by mail, yes, that's right, I said by the snail mail, address is on my website, I will send you a complimentary gift that's very unique, very special. I promise you that. Now, let's get into the video. So originally, I planned on dedicating an entire series to Twin Peaks Season 3. In terms of offering, content and continuing to build my YouTube channel, that seemed like the most sensible thing to do. However, I realized that an entire long and drawn-out series that covers every peculiar detail on Season 3 really isn't something I want to do anymore, so I'm simply not going to do that. I've been thinking a lot about Twin Peaks in general and what I've learned about it so far from my last project. And all along the way, I felt like I was missing something that was very simple, something that could explain the whole darn thing without much effort, and definitely without such a long, drawn-out video series as the last one. And it doesn't matter how much I belabor the point, either this way I'm about to show you, this way of seeing Twin Peaks, is either going to ring true with you, and many gaps will be filled in, and you'll have those aha moments, or maybe it'll just be another failed effort to describe Lynch pointing at what is ultimately indescribable. So that potential exists. Now, I'm not saying the interpretation I'm about to offer is definitive, although I kind of am, because you'll see why. Nor would I believe that any reduction, now I definitely don't believe any reduction of artistic expression should be limited to one simplistic theme. Okay, it's of course what you bring to it. That's an important part of it. So I'm just relaying how I see Twin Peaks. Okay, but I am finally satisfied with this interpretation, and I feel like I can move on to some other projects after this. But that doesn't mean I have necessarily resolved anything, because I'm not really trying to solve a problem, okay, or complete a puzzle. That's not why I do this. Okay, so in truth, at least hopefully I can say that my ego had absolutely everything to do with this view, but then also had nothing at all to do with it. At least it led me to a point, and then I had to see things as they really were in order to actually make this video and present you with a very clear and detailed explanation. Okay. And of course, this whole idea about the unsolvable nature of life is exactly why, of course, Laura Palmer's murder was never intended to be solved, and is why there are, and of course, this is my view, and this is why there are countless theories on what is going on, because Twin Peaks is it's a brilliant simulation. It's a world-building exercise that contains uncertainties and of an ambiguous nature, all about the human game and beyond, and its relation to the larger reality that it seems to be nested within. Now, the great thing about art and creativity is that it's not reserved for just the artist, but it takes the perceiver to recognize and internalize the work, which is a process available to all of us if we get our minds off of the endless hamster wheel of trivial nonsense and actualities for a while. Now, this meme you see that I've constructed is also foreshadowing a core element to this video series, by the way. Now, Lynch has remarked that the main thing he enjoys about his work is the actual process or the doing of the work itself. And that's an integral element to what I'm going to show you. That's a key to the threefold aspect of creativity, or really of everything. Something Lynch is well aware of, and I'm going to reveal in this series. And without trying to give away the whole thing here, because I don't feel like it really can ever be completely given away, a key element of Lynch's work, or of the Lynch-Frost duality, can be found actually in the Upanishads and is known as the Mahagunas or the Great Gunas, known as, in other words, the three aspects in one. And this dynamic, the Mahagunas or the Great Gunas, the three gunas, is integral to the fundamental processes of nature in Vedic philosophy. And once I break this down and you see how this works, I think you're going to agree that this fits quite perfectly. Now, Twin Peaks contains an obsessive theme, seems obsessed with electricity and radio transmissions. And, I realize how wackadoodle it sounds to get into Vedic philosophy. And how does this relate to, how does this this notion of the Mahagunas, whatever that may be to you, how does this relate to Twin Peaks? But give me a moment to explain. I promise it's going to cause some light bulbs to go off. And while I really like Twin Perfect's extremely well done video, another YouTube content creator, he has a great video on the meaning of Twin Peaks. I should say his approach seems to have ignored or even ridiculed the intuition at times, which seems a fatal error in my estimation, especially since he didn't seem to pay any attention to the opening credits. And, even like yesterday, I did a search on YouTube looking at, who has analyzed the opening credits of Twin Peaks, and I can't find one analysis of the opening credits, which is quite shocking to me. Now, one of the very first things I learned in studying storytellers and studying art is that, the first thing that the artist will communicate will be of the most importance, right? Something like, the opening credits of a TV show or a movie are like stating a thesis, right, in a paper, or making a claim, and then the content of the movie or the TV show, basically the entire rest of the show is buttressing that claim or, spending the rest of the time just supporting the opening statement. So that's very key here. And I think Lynch did an amazing job showing us the theme, showing us what the whole thing's about right there in the open, in the credits, and then repeating that over and over.